years into this disastrous narrowboat project, and this month has been our biggest test yet. Behold, every narrowboater's greatest fear. Hi guys, we are Chris and Bex, the Nomadic Crobot, and today you are tuning in for a very special, serious Crobot episode.
That is correct, for the time of year has come around when the BSS is finally due, and I tell you what, the stomach jitter game is strong on this one.
So the BSS is like a boating version of the MOT. It sets the standards for boats, their installations and components which you must meet before buying your river licence. Just nick that off old Google. I mean, it's exciting for these guys, but it's terrifying for us. But we're actually going to take it one step further than any other one of these little measly narrowboat channels, because a lot of these other little measly narrowboat channels only sort of review one or two of the problems in the BSS, whereas the Nomadic Crobot are going to review the entire 190 pages of the BSS and go through every single one in detail with you guys, aren't we, Bex?
Yes, that is correct. Some may call it unnecessary, but I have found and downloaded a ginormous document which details every little aspect of the BSS. It's quite handy actually. In all reality, only 80 of those pages apply, but it's quite handy because it just takes you through all the questions that the examiner would ask. So we're just going to run through and try and make sense of it and check them off the list. Happy days, not a problem.
And we're taking you guys along for the ride on every single one. We're not actually taking them along for every single one, are we? We're just going to sort of do the essential ones. So yeah, we are that measly narrowboat channel. So
buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, this might be a long one. Pray for us, guys.
So we're going to head to the stern of the boat. That's the back, the boat's butt.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to check out the electrical systems to start with.
Clamber into our lovely new Titan pram cover. We're proper posh these days, aren't we? We haven't actually been in here.
I have. Speak for yourself. Okay, so question number 1 on this exceptionally difficult quiz is: are all unsealed or open vented batteries ventilated to prevent risk of explosion through hydrogen accumulation? Chris?
Yeah, fine. I believe that is referring to the battery box, which is located here at the back of the boat. Someone dropped these go-kart tyres up for us a couple of years back. We couldn't really ever remember who it was. Someone had just sort of... Something touched me, man. There's something on me. We never quite caught the chap's name, but they're meant to be for when we go cruising, that we can put them up along the side of the boat in any tricky mooring areas so that we don't scratch the sides of the boat. I believe at the moment they're just in the way. So this is our battery box compartment.
So it's asking whether, if the batteries are stored in a dedicated battery sort of storage area, if there's sufficient ventilation. Oh, it has actually, there's holes drilled into the side here.
Ah, okay. No, I couldn't do them. Okay, so yeah, seems to be some drill holes where someone's drilled in to get the ventilation. I think you just sort of bodge this thing, don't you? As long as it passes, it passes.
Awesome, so we can check that one off the list, hopefully.
What's up next then?
So, question number 2. Are the batteries secure against excessive movement in any direction?
Watched Cruising the Cut have a problem with this years ago, and he had to put a metal bar going across the top of it. This is past its previous BSS. Here
don't
on
be
the top.
fooled into thinking that that's good enough though.
No?
No, I keep seeing people saying, oh, just because it's passed in the past doesn't mean that it's just automatically going to pass.
It's a good point, isn't it?
So the batteries are housed basically in a tray that somebody's made, so they're all kind of wedged in nicely. There's no sort of excessive movement on them at all. You can see, you can barely move them because there's just nowhere for them to go. So yeah, happy with that. Next!
So as we've said previously, we are going to be one of those lousy narrowboat channels that doesn't allude to most of the stuff on the BSS, and that is mainly because there's so much on there, and it would probably be like a 2-hour video, and it's probably a bit boring for you guys. So we're just going to do a few and try and just keep it fun, really. But one thing that the narrowboat channel Boat Time recommended to us, and they are certainly not a lousy narrowboat channel, they are an awesome narrowboat channel, is that when your BSS does come up, Just make sure you get rid of lots and lots of the junk and stuff that could quite possibly prevent the narrowboat from passing the BSS. And in the back here, I've already spotted a couple of things. Down here we've got this old battery that's just been sitting there for about 3 years. So I think we could potentially do with losing that. This will probably have to be moved. Basically there's just going to be a really big pit of junk in the marina somewhere, dumped somewhere by Crobot.
Just to sort of elaborate on that, basically there's nothing wrong with having a fuel can on your boat, it's where it's positioned, because in terms of the BSS, if it's in a certain proximity to something, i.e. batteries or some source of ignition or something like that, not sort of, yeah, I think that's what I mean, that's when it becomes dangerous, so that's why it's better to just maybe move them out of the way.
Pass! So a few of the other smaller things down there was sort of the condition of the wiring down there, the wiring in the right place, if the wiring is of a significant girth to be wired to the batteries, something that we just have to wait and see, I suppose. It looks alright.
I mean, I'm no electrician or anything like that, but it looks like it's in fairly good working order.
Battery nest. Pass.
So on board our boat we have 2 fuse boxes. We have one sneakily hidden away in this kitchen cupboard and one down the far end in the spaghetti junction electrical box. And so that's a nice easy thing to check if you're preparing for your BSS, which is to just check the state of your fuse board. Make sure there's no scorch marks or any wiring that looks particularly dodgy, because that's something that they come around and check. It won't bore you with all the details, but just, yeah, a nice easy one for you.
Right, so we've checked out a few other little areas in the narrowboat. What did we check out? We've checked out the little bit at the back, that's all alright. And we checked out another bit somewhere in the kitchen, that's fine, isn't it?
Can anyone guess what's happened here? Chris has just sat over there and I've done it, basically, which is why he doesn't know how to explain.
So we've done them checks, things. Now onto one of the main checks, one of my favourite checks, LPG, gas area that I feel I've corrected a few years back. Rusty situation down here underneath the gas canisters. Last summer I gave it a good old painty. Gas area's fine, isn't it? That's all that we need to do, isn't it? I think Bex has gone. She's gone away. She left me. It's back. Just telling the viewers that it's all sorted down here, isn't it?
Chris painted the base of the gas locker like 2 years ago or something. On my instruction, shall we say, not off of his own initiative.
It says it's on her instruction, I'm not sure if it was.
Oh, come on now, it definitely was. And so now he's just like polishing his medals, his trophy cabinets.
That's all done, we can shut that, can't we?
No.
No? What else do we need?
Loads of ones in
Is
this
there?
one, yeah. Sorry guys, so we left you a bit stranded there because my dad popped up. Anyway, it's a new day and we're back to the gas locker, picking up where we left off.
Are you excited to see all that hard work that I've done to the gas locker to get it all ready for the BSS like a year ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago I done that?
It was when we did the bilges.
Bloody hell.
When we did the bilges.
No, it wouldn't have been 3 years.
It's probably about 2 years ago.
3
2.5 years ago?
We'll have the blacking coming up again soon. And we haven't even left the marine.
I reckon it'll be right. The boat hasn't moved, it'll be fine.
Okay, open up my gas locker.
Don't you open that trap door. I do that joke every time.
You're turning into me.
I know, recycling jokes. I mean, I love recycling, but not necessarily with jokes.
Like I always say, if the joke isn't up a tier joke, there is wiggle room to say the joke more than once.
If it's a really good one, you can definitely get to sort of use it a few times,
Yeah.
but you know your limit. That's the thing.
So I got rid of all the rust and 2 packed to the bottom there, but that, by the sounds of it, is the least of our worries, because Bex says there's a whole list of things.
I'm hoping, because a lot of this stuff revolves around how the boat was kind of initially set up, and these systems have been in place for donkey's years, so you'd kind of think if you base it on that logic that it should be okay. So it's things like where the gas pipes run and stuff like that. So if it was okay in all the previous BSS, because nothing's changed, you'd like to hope that it's still okay, but you can never exactly rely on that, as we all well know.
Both our gas hoses have got little imperfections in them.
It's still sort of currently safe, but it's just where over time rubber sort of starts to perish a bit, so we're just going to whack some new ones on there. Okay, so on to the next question. Does the drain line fall continuously from the cylinder locker to the drain outlet, and are both ends clear of blockage? Now the thing that's pricked my ears up on this one is in the notes it says, with examiner action, with the consent of the owner, a bucket of water can be used to aid verification of check items for this. So we thought it'd be quite funny to do our own examiner action, get a jug of water, pour it down, check that there is no obstructions.
And also we said we were only going to really show you guys the really fun ones, so this is a really fun one. So that's what we're going to do. It's a really fun one, isn't it, Bex?
Really fun. It's really fun. To the tap!
Consumer may want to sample the water because it's a hot day. This way, come on.
We need to clear the locker, so don't just go and throw it in.
You want to go?
I'm all good, thanks. I know what water tastes like.
Marina water, nothing like it. The freshest in all of Hertfordshire.
Straight from the river.
Getting silly now.
Chris is trying to do like a seductive, like Timotei advert or something over there. Right, are you going to keep on drinking or can I turn it off?
Thirsty. Just saying, because I've had all the fun already on this fun test, filling up the water and that for you guys, I'm going to hand it over to Bex now. They'll continue the really fun test that we're going to do.
So Chris has taught you all how to turn on a tap and how to drink out of a jug. And I'm going to teach you how to pour out of a jug.
Did you fairly kept that together, didn't you?
I know, because it's that ridiculous. So basically, we're just checking that there's adequate drainage. So in theory, the gas locker is at a slight angle. So we are going to pour the water and just see if it channels out, basically, without any obstruction.
You're going to have fun doing it too, aren't you?
Going to have like the best fun in the
Loads
whole entire
of fun.
world.
Very tense moments. Take that. There you go.
Thank you.
Gas locker pass. So you can download the BSS document online for free, and you can go over every little section on it yourself. It's trying to work out how many of those sections your BSS instructor, is that the way you say it, is going to allude to. I mean, we're going to try and go over everything on it and briefly look at it, but I don't think there's a point really going into anything in a highly detailed way, because when the BSS guy comes, he's going to tick off the stuff that the boat needs correcting anyway.
Okay, so moving on from the gas locker, just wanted to check that the gas pipes and everything were all sound through the body of the boat. So I've started off at the back end and just worked the way up the line. They're all looking pretty good, to be honest. They're all clipped up nicely. There's an isolator on every appliance, which is important. So one for the gas boiler, one for the cooker, and we also have one down at the bottom end of the boat as well. So it has 3 isolators on it. And we also have a little test point as well, which is really handy. So when the BSS man comes, he can just work his magic with that. So I think all that there is we need to do really is just to put some stickers up to show where those isolator valves are. The other thing is it mentions about where the pipes travel through like bulkheads. Just to check that's all secure and that you might need a bit of sealant round. And then I think it looks pretty sound, to be honest.
Say it.
Pass. And for anyone who's panicking like we did when we were reading through the checklist, obviously some of your gas pipes are going to be buried behind walls and stuff, and I think that's okay, like so long as they can get access to some of it and they can just assess it and make sure it's in good condition. Don't freak out too much if there's parts that they can't actually get to, because I think that's okay as I understand it.
So Becca's lovely stove, if you remember, we still need to attach that to the floor. It's one thing that they're pretty hot on, I believe. Scorch marks have been sorted out, thankfully, to that disgusting copper that we found in the car park. Vents on the narrowboat are also another thing that need to be considered. I reckon we'll have to have a bit of a clear up on the roof of the boat here because there's so much junk on here. I don't think he's going to like it. That's a fail straight away. Get rid of the wood. Get rid of all Becca's wood, please. So we've picked up 3 of these. Can you guess what they are? our lovely sparkly new fire extinguishers. I ordered them. A grubby old fire blanket that I think this will be fine. It's a little bit grubby.
So the next section concerns all of the fuel lines and pipes, so we're going to get into the engine bay to just check their condition.
So I'm going to open this up, all ready for Becca to climb down into the engine bay. So I like to lift it off for her because it's a little bit heavy, and then that opens up all the room for Becca to get her whole torso down, whole body all the way down in there. So enough room for you to get down in there?
Yep.
You like getting in there?
Absolutely.
Told you guys, I'm not lazy. She loves going down.
No, you definitely are lazy, but I still love to get down.
You think I'm lazy?
Yep.
She's so rude, man. She's really got it in for me this week. I wonder if I should take the other bit off as well.
So that's
Been busy.
it's hard work just standing around, isn't it?
Huh?
What?
A lot of brain power being absorbed in here while you were down there. Working things out. Solutions being created in the cerebral cortex.
You gotta be joking, right?
Okay, so we have assessed the entire narrowboat, the Whistling Wombat, and we are happy that it's going to pass its BSS, aren't we, Bex? Aren't we, Bex? No?
Well, I'm just thinking you the other day, all you were going, it's going to fail, Bex, it's going to fail, it's going to fail, Bex. And then you say that, it threw me.
I do
that's
feel
not what you actually believe.
I do feel the first one will fail, and then he'll tick off what needs to be done, and then we'll go back and we'll have to redo it, and then they review it again in 2 weeks. And I reckon that is the general procedure for most narrowboats, because there's a lot of narrowboats that are in far better nick than this one, and I've seen them fail, so I can only sort of go by that, really. But
I mean, I think the most important thing is we found this list, we've gone through and checked it to the best of our ability, tried to learn and understand about what some of this stuff means, because I think people sort of forget that living on a boat is not, you can't be complacent with it, you need to be on top of stuff, and you're going to be best well suited if you throw yourself at stuff and try and understand how things work, so that you're not just panicking every time something like this comes up.
so we're pretty happy with everything that we saw on the narrowboat, or we've corrected a lot of the things that we weren't happy with in order for this to pass the BSS. But there are two vital things that the narrowboat still needs, really, in order to pass the BSS. Was probably more, actually. But one would be finally attaching the narrowboat stove to the half, because that's meant to be quite a biggie that instructors are quite hot on. And another one, a really big one, is installing the hot water so that it's linked up to the Audi boiler.
So as you've seen in previous episodes, I've started the plumbing process with the calorifier. I've run all my hot and cold input kind of piping and stuff like that. But the next crucial step is actually running the pipes to the Aldi boiler, which is going to be one sort of heating source. And the significance of this for the BSS is that obviously the gas boiler needs to be tested during that process, and if it's not connected up to a water tank, essentially you're running it dry, which I imagine probably isn't going to be good for the boiler.
So the next couple of weeks we've got all those jobs to look forward to, and then we're finally going to book in the BSS, and fingers crossed we're going to pass.
And for anyone who's interested or has their BSS coming up, we'll post the link to the big old
190 page.
Yeah, to the big old 195 page booklet that actually takes you through all of the questions that they go through. But don't let that worry you, because the whole document isn't just questions. I think only a portion of it is, and there's loads of appendices and stuff. So don't let it put you off, because it's actually really useful. So yeah, you can check that out in the description.
Okay guys, it's been great to be back. We'll catch you in the next one.
See you later.